What them haters talking about?
What's up, family? As a result of the pandemic and the subsequent lockdown, many people in the U.S. were unable to pay their rent because they could not earn a living. At least if they could, it was not a decent living. Couldn't cover their bills. So the government put some measures in place to try to offer people protection. You don't have to pay your rent for X amount of time or whatever. Well, the backlog piled up, and many landlords, they just got fed up and said, look, it don't matter what they going through, I want my money. They went to Congress to try to get some relief, and then the Supreme Court sided in favor of getting rid of Joe Biden's moratorium on evictions for non-payment of rent. There's still some legal maneuvering going on right now. By the time you see this, they may flip it again. Right now, it's a lot of people who are facing evictions. Millions. Now, we knew that this was coming because it's impossible for these landlords to continue to pay the bill when people are not paying their bills, right? We know that some of these landlords got some relief from the government too. We know that for a fact. Some of them got off. Some of them got over, right? And they're still trying to shake the tenants down to get the money. But then there are those who didn't get any money, and they're coming straight out of pocket to pay those mortgages. See, just like you have to pay a landlord, the landlord have to pay the mortgage company, right? And so the landlords are saying, hey man, I need my money. And I don't care where you go, but you got to get out of here. I've seen some evictions in Houston. Sheriff show up, start putting people out. Now, some people are saying, well, this is illegal, that's illegal. But then you got to go through the courts and figure all of that stuff out. If you have a very aggressive landlord, then you might find yourself in a situation like two people in Las Vegas found themselves in. In fact, three people. Two people were killed and one seriously injured when the landlord got into a dispute with the tenants. Dude just pulled out a banger and started killing. Killed the dude, killed his girlfriend, and almost killed another tenant. The dude stood over their bodies and laughed about it. Okay? So now we got a situation where tenants allegedly have killed their landlord. A couple was arrested after they allegedly killed their landlord and attempted to dump her body only to be caught by her son. On September 8th, the Swainsboro, Georgia Police Department responded to a call concerning a suspicious vehicle around 6:30 p.m. When officers arrived, they found a vehicle that was driven off the edge of the road, and they discovered that it belonged to Connie Mercer Webb, 53 years old. While on the scene, officers found that Connie had not been seen or heard from all day by her family, and the family member said she never failed to return phone calls or messages. Officers began to canvass the neighborhood, looking for information regarding the vehicle and attempting to locate the missing person. Officers were directed to a nearby residence that Connie was renting out to Nathaniel and Lashana David. This residence is located about 300 yards from where Connie's van had last been seen. Guess where they found the body? Right in their backyard. But that's not all. How did they find it? Well, it turns out that at the exact time the police was on their trail, had pulled up to the crib, Nathaniel, they say, allegedly was trying to dispose of the body. So he was moving the body. And Connie's son spotted him and started screaming. Police pull up and Nathaniel pull out, catch out running. Guess he dropped the body, took off running. They caught him. Now Nathaniel and LaShawna David are both being held on murder charges, possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and possession of a sawed-off shotgun. Fam, it's getting really wild out there. Landlord-tenant relationships ain't good right now. Not at all. I have not seen so much violence between landlords and tenants in my life. I mean, it's going down right now. The true part about it is that seems to always be the answer in America. Like when things get bad, instead of people pulling it together and trying to come up with a plan that works for everybody, people just go to killing. It's like, how do I solve this? Let me kill somebody. Like a lot of adults still think like kids. You know how like when you were young and somebody did you wrong, first thing you do, think about killing them? Well, maybe not you, but that happens sometimes, youngsters, they think death is the only solution for everything. Even that's why you get so many youngsters who commit suicide. They think, death is the answer for everything. They don't understand that most problems in life are extremely temporary. Like, think about some of the things that you've been through that you survived. But at the time, you thought this crisis was one of those that you could not overcome. You thought the world was really at an end. And somehow, some way, you made it. You made it through. And now you can look back at some of that stuff and say, man, I can't believe I was tripping that damn hard, man. Woo-wee, I was tripping. That's how life is. Most of this stuff is temporary. I mean, almost all of it is temporary. Especially when you start talking about breakups and stuff like that, man. You start thinking about some of these people you thought about taking your life over or going crazy and snapping over. You be like, man, I was tripping. Especially when you think about where that person is now, what that person is doing now. Usually, that person who dogged the other person out, they're not really doing too well right now. Not wishing bad on anybody, but I guess that's karma. Anyway, fam, watch yourself out there. Whether you're a tenant or a landlord, try to be respectful of the other person. Try to work it out. Some of you landlords ain't been the best landlords. Y'all can't be just rushing on people and wanting them to all of a sudden be the best tenants. And then some tenants ain't been the best tenants. Can't just be all of a sudden thinking you get the same breaks that other tenants that have been paying their rent on time should get. You shouldn't get the same consideration. Like some people have been able to use the pandemic as an excuse to further not pay their rent. Some people wasn't paying rent before the pandemic, and they want the same type of action as the person who was paying before the pandemic took place. So, I can understand the frustration with some landlords, and I can understand the frustration with some tenants. That's why I say, you have to consider the other person's position and, be respectful. Just be respectful of the other person. But try to, see things from the other person's perspective, put yourself in the other person's shoes. And, at the end of the day, fam, all of this boils down to one of the first lessons that I learned in life. Treat people how you want to be treated. No more talk.
What the haters talking about?